I change your bum life. You fight me, it's a celebration.
I would beat you.
When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties.
Are you ready?
That goes in the files.
Are you ready? Let's get it all!
Yo, welcome back to the fifth round. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And I guess I got a little Slim Shady over the shoulder over there. But, man, UFC 285 this weekend, literally in 2 days. I'm fucking ecstatic. Like I said in a video earlier this week, I'm like, man, Jon Jones has been my favorite fighter in forever. And, you know, it's been a while since we've seen him fight. And it's literally been like 5 years since I've been excited for like a big fight from him. And that was his last Gus fight in 2018. And, man, you know, just people on Twitter and everything, I'm starting to see all these videos and shit of just, you know, people hyping up Jon Jones, all his interviews, all these fighter interviews coming out. You know, you start to get more and more excited. And, you know, I don't know, this fight week is just crazy, and I could talk so much about how stacked it is. And I mean, Ian Gary on there, Amanda Hebos, I mean, I think Cameron Simon, I mean, all these people that are about to be on there, let alone before we even get to the prelim and before we even get to the main card. So, you know, one thing I do really want to talk about real quick is, you know, the whole Bo Nickal situation. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I feel like this is like almost set up for him to win perfectly as he fights Jamie Pickett, who was like 2-4 in the UFC, 13-8 in his career. And I know if you guys have watched him, like the dude's got length. I mean, he's what, like 6'2", 6'3", at 185, 6'4", maybe even in any division. That's pretty damn tall. It's a big boy. But like, I mean, he, you know, when you're getting knocked off left and right like that, and more so, it seems like every one of his fights that I've ever watched, you know, he does seem to find himself shooting, and he tries to, you know, get the grappling going a little bit. And a guy against like Bo Nickal like that, I just don't see it happening. Like, Bo Nickal's the man. I'm sure people just saw about 2 weeks ago. He did a little like exhibition like jiu-jitsu match with Gordon Ryan, who's the man. But you just seen him like hip tossing him left and right because he's way better at wrestling. This dude's a dominant wrestler. And if you guys go back, and the only thing we really got of him is his Contender Series fight. Like, I know he's 3-0 technically, and so like there's 2 other ones that you could watch, but like it's just domination. But if you watch his Contender Series where he actually fights like a legitimate MMA fighter, you know, the one thing I am a little worried about is he does land that over, like, dude, his feints are amazing. His feints are going to be killing people left and right, especially in the 185 division. It's, other than the top dogs right now, Pereira and Izzy, you know, those guys are stand-up, but, like, everybody else is pretty dominant wrestlers. I mean, you got Whitaker, who could wrestle. I mean, you even got guys like Vettori, Derek Brunson. You got even Duplessis has shown he can grapple a little bit. Like, you got these guys up there, and let alone, like, the guys who can stand up and shit, like Strickland and all these guys, and like Paulo Costa. Like, you know, you got these guys up there that, you know, more so if you're a wrestler, you're going to dominate in general. So it's a great base to have. Like, if you're going to have a certain base coming in, like, man, I mean, you're probably, wrestling is one of the greatest ones you could be, or very high level Muay Thai or some sort of striker, like clearly more than boxing. But we're just saying, usually you're going to start off good. So it's looking good for him, and I think he is going to win in UFC 285 for sure. I think he's going to really take advantage of Jamie Pickett. But I am a little worried. I think the UFC might be pushing him a little too quickly. I know he's 27, and I know it's still young. You got plenty of damn time. And I know that some people, if you're watching this under, you know, sub 25, you're going to be like, oh, 27's getting old. But really, in the fight game, like they always say, you know, the experts out there, that you're not in your prime till, 30 to 36 or something like that, or 32 to 36 or something around those lines. And it's depending on, you know, clearly depending on head trauma and stuff. But, you know, I just want to watch out a little bit. I think the UFC might, you know, clearly if Bo Nickal goes out there, and if it turns into any sort of grappling match, this man's going to just absolutely dominate Jamie Pickett. And I think it's going to be rather quick, and he's going to look very dominating. And it's going to, or dominant, I should say, but it's going to be really good for him at the look. But it's like, man, I just hope they don't push him too quick, because like if we start looking into it, I mean, if he wins this one, I know Jamie Pickett's 2-4 or whatever, but he is a well-known name. He's got some good fights with people out there. You know, he's had some decent fights, had some good primetime stuff. And, you know, I just feel like if he wins that one, man, you just got to watch out, because he's going to almost be already pushed at like the top 15 to top 12 mark. Where, I mean, you got guys like Kelvin, I think Duplessis, you got Imavov, you got some killers up there that would absolutely love to have those fights. You even got like Jack Hermanson, I think, chilling at like 11 or 12 or something like that, which, don't get me wrong, I think Bo Nickal could definitely definitely grapple with these boys. I think he can grapple with anybody at the top of the world, but it's, some of these guys that can keep it standing and have just as good as ground game, or, maybe not necessarily as good of a wrestler, but they're MMA smart, they're really good with the cage, or really good at different wrestling. MMA grappling is way different than wrestling. I know it definitely helps. I mean, look at guys like DC and Bo Nickal and stuff, but like, you guys get these guys to, the middle of the octagon, it's going to be way different, but these guys are so good at keeping, it's some body parts of the cage, so you're always helping out. So at least you got one side to, prevent one of the chokes or whatever, or a back mount or whatever type situation that would be. These guys are so good at, climbing up the cage and everything with their back. So, I mean, you got even like, there's one more guys like Imavov. You got all these different people that I think would really be a tough time for somebody who's only have 3 fights in the UFC, or even in MMA to be general, but his first fight in the UFC. Like, I just hope they don't push him too much, because I know he's a cash cow right now, and I just don't want to see them burn him out. We've seen it, like, as funny as it is, Yair Rodriguez, we saw him get pushed way too quick. They put him up against Frankie Edgar, gets absolutely dominated, and look now, I mean, he did learn and go all the way, and now he's the interim title at 145 or champion, and it can work out, but it's just, man, that hurt his confidence and set him back there for a couple of years, that maybe what he would have been. And you could look at those people all day. We see it all the time. These guys get pushed, and I mean, look, like, honestly, as sad as it is, Darren Till just got released by the UFC, and he was one of the fastest push guys ever. And I think it was just a little too much, and you just don't want to see it ruin a young fighter like that. I know Bo Nickal has done so much in college and everything, in wrestling and Olympic, everything that this man could ever done with wrestling. This man has done it, but it's like, you just got to be careful with. In my opinion, I'm not an expert here, but I'm just saying, I've seen this as a fan for so long. You see this start to play out, and you're like, oh no. So clearly, I think he's going to win. I think whoever's betting on him at UFC 285, you're going to get a big day. And my worry is I just don't want him to fall in love with his striking a little too much. If you guys go back and watch that Contender series, like I was saying, he lands that one overhand left that just absolutely sits him down early, because that's what he gets them feints going, and it's like, man, you just got to just a little careful with that, because when you're such a dominant wrestler and grappler like that, you are going to start taking advantage of your stand-up, because these guys are going to keep their hands lower, ready for the stuff of the takedown, and it's going to be a little tough for him, I think. But I don't think this fight's going to have anything to do with that. I mean, clearly, maybe he comes out here and Jamie Pickett catches him early, but I just don't see that happening. I think Bo Nickal's going to look really good. I think it's set up for him too. I'm just saying, as a fan, and you say for me as a fan of him, I just don't want to see them push him too much. Just steady, slow pace, kind of like what they've been doing with Sugar Sean, because they've been doing it very well with him. And I know it's different weight classes, but 135 is more stacked than 185 if you ask me. So. But hey, I'm excited to see a UFC 285. He's been training with John Jones. I'm pretty excited for that. But I think this kid has a lot of potential, and I just want to make sure that he actually gets to completely fulfill that. And I don't know, sometimes UFC just be so hungry for, somebody to come in and to be the next Conor or be the next John Jones or anybody, any of these guys, Sugar Sean's, all these people that they want him to be. And once they see a new guy trying to look like Khabib or something, like an American Khabib, I think they might really, really dive into that. So, as always, your boy Stephen Moustaris, and let's go, baby, UFC 285.